Welcome to the Creating Confident Kids community. You should have watched the first video where we're talking about physical boundaries, and not even just physical boundaries. We talk about emotional, relational, mental and physical boundaries. Now we're going to break it down into activities that we can actually apply to our kid to make it not an awkward conversation. So if you haven't already, go watch that video and then come back over. And for those who are ready, we're going to jump straight into it, okay? So you can go to a park, outside, it can be in your living room. It's just depending on your kid and your age. So I tried to break it down into 3 different age groups. I'm going to talk about the middle age group, which is 5 to 9 years old. And then I'll give you a younger version and I'll give you an older version because our teenagers aren't going to react the same as our 2 to 5 year olds. So what we're going to do is we're going to play a game, and this is how we're going to try to approach it. That we're going to go to our kids and be like, hey, do you want to play a game with us? We want it to feel natural, not awkward or not forced. The game is the stop game, and the objective of the game is to be able to capture our kids. So we're emulating a hug. How this is going to work is we're going to create a bit of distance between our kids. We go, you stand over there, I'm going to stand over here. And it's almost like the Squid Game, green light, red light game, where you're going to tell them, I'm going to turn around. When I turn around, you're allowed to come up as close to me as possible so you can try to grab me. But when I turn around and say stop, you have to freeze. So what we're trying to teach them is that stop or no is another word that you can use, means stop and no. I'm giving you a space boundary that I don't want you to come any closer. But this is subtly working in the back of their head, the subconscious kind of messaging. So 1, 2, 3, stop. And you want to be loud and you want to be forceful. You want to put your hands out there even to give them a visual signal. You say stop, and then the idea is for them to stop. If they continue moving, this is actually a very good teachable moment that we're going to be able to use later. But then when they stop, you turn back around, they come closer, and you stop, and stop, and you have fun with that. The idea is for it to be playful, okay? But then when we get to the end, when they get really close, we actually want to tempt them to break the rule, okay? And this is, if they don't, which is really good, they're respecting your boundary, which is a win. But when they get really close, you can almost be like opening up, showing that you're available for a hug. And if they hug, this is where the teachable moment comes in. This is when you can say, I didn't actually say you could grab me. I said stop, and then you tell them that I told you to stop, why did you hug me? And then you let them know that it's okay. You're in my inner circle of the few people that I allow to hug. You let them know that you're my son or my daughter and you can hug me whenever you want because you are my most inner precious circle. But not everyone can just hug me. And you can start to show them that there are boundaries outside of your immediate family, and then we naturally go into the conversation of who's in your inner circle. This way we're having a game, and you can also have this conversation after we swap roles. So we're actually going to swap and be like, okay, now you're going to tell me to stop, because this is giving them the power. And another little way that we can challenge this is when they say stop, you can continue to edge on a little bit. And then if they say, I said stop, be like, oh, I didn't hear you. You got to tell me. You got to be loud. Get them to say stop. Have fun with it as well. This isn't a serious game. It's just a little fun intervention, a little fun exercise to get into that little segue of conversation. Now, if our kids are younger, we can change the hold into just a hug. You come up and give me a warm embrace or a tickle. Same concept applies. This one's actually probably going to be the easiest for the younger kids because they're going to be giggling and having fun, and then you just have that small conversation with them. Don't get too serious, don't give too many examples. But when you ask your kid, and this is the older age, wait, let them come up with the decisions. You don't tell them who belongs in what circle. Listen, validate to their emotions. See who they value and allow in their circles. Now, the older kids, this is going to be the hard one. When they start to be 9 and older, they're going to be like, I'm too cool to play games with mum and dad. So how we're going to word this is more like, do you want to play tag? Say, let's play this game of tag that I used to play as a kid. Because then it's like bringing them into your life a little bit and opening up. So you just say, We're gonna play tag, but it's a little bit different. You stand all the way over there and you gotta tag me, but every time I turn around and say stop, you have to stop. This way it's a little bit more of a challenge. It's harder for it to be fun and giggly and playful when they're a little bit older. When they're young, it's all about having fun and games, and when they're older, they want challenges. They want to be tested. And this is what we're gonna do in this game. So literally we're gonna be over here and then stop. And they're gonna try to run. This is gonna be quick. So it'd be good to do it at the park or outside where you have some distance. Give them like 10 meters, because once they're teenagers or once they're early teens, pre-adolescent, fast. So you're gonna be quick with those stops. And the same thing, use it as a segue. Be like, oh, try to have a stop when you get tagged. Be like, oh, I said stop, swap the roles. Maybe continue to edge on after they said stop and be like, oh no, I told you to stop, you didn't stop. Be like, oh, I'm sorry. I should respect that boundary. Every time, next time you say stop, I'm gonna listen. Just an easy way to introduce this conversation. Now you might be thinking that this isn't like the self-defense I thought I was gonna get from this course, but this is the most important lesson so far. This is showing them that setting boundaries and knowing that your space, who is allowed to touch me, is the first step to knowing how to actually defend yourself. How are you supposed to know how to defend yourself when you don't know who is allowed to touch you? When you don't know who's allowed in your space? Having this foundation is going to set your kids up to be much more confident. So let me know in the post, share your experience. How did this activity go? Were you able to have fun? Was it actually a playful game? Did you do the drawing with the inner circle, the outer circle, and get them to fill it out? Because that's also from the first video, a good exercise you can do after the conversation from the activity. So the most important thing is to have fun. We're going to get a little bit more into martial arts and confidence building side of things, but this is so foundational and so important. This is the most important lesson that we'll do. If you had a unique take or your kid had some insight, share it, because there might be another parent that is just a little bit shy to speak up but has the same experience or has the same question as you do. And I'll see you for the next challenge.